Hey there and welcome. Have you ever just stopped and wondered why our habits feel so, well, automatic? You know, why some thoughts or feelings just seem to pop up on their own, almost like they have a mind of their own? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating ancient principle that gets right to the heart of that very thing.
I mean, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? That feeling of being in a battle with yourself, trying to build a good habit or break a bad one. Turns out the answer isn't just about having more willpower. It's about a much, much deeper mechanism happening inside our minds.
And to really get it, we have to start with something super simple, but also incredibly powerful: repetition. Seriously, what we do over and over again is literally sculpting the person we become.
Think about it. Every time you worry about something, that's practice. Every time you choose to be kind, that's practice. Even just mindlessly scrolling through your phone, yep, that's practice too. You are constantly, actively training your mind moment by moment, whether you realize it or not.
Now, this is not some new age self-help idea. Not at all. Ancient Buddhist philosophy actually has a super precise term and a powerful framework for this. It gives a name to this invisible force that's always at work.
It's called Asevana Paccayo. So let's break that down. Asevana means repetition, or just doing something again and again, and Paccayo means condition or support. So it's the condition of repetition. Basically, every thought you have lays down a little track, making it just a tiny bit easier for the next similar thought to follow. Modern neuroscience might talk about strengthening neural pathways, but 2,500 years ago, they had a much more beautiful way of putting it.
Yeah, the original texts use this wonderful analogy. They ask you to think of your mind like a plain piece of cloth. And your thoughts, well, your thoughts are like perfume. The first little drop of perfume on that cloth, it's faint. You can barely smell it. But if you apply it again and again in the very same spot, that cloth becomes totally saturated with the scent, right? It's exactly the same with our minds. That first little thought is weak, but each repetition makes that mental signature stronger and stronger, literally scenting your mind with that particular quality.
And here's where it gets really interesting. This whole scenting process is completely neutral. It doesn't care one bit if the perfume you're using is sweet and lovely or if it's foul. The principle just works, no matter what.
So whether you're repeatedly studying something difficult, which slowly makes it easier to understand, or you're repeatedly getting angry, which makes your fuse shorter over time, the underlying mechanism is identical. The mind just reinforces whatever pattern you feed it.
So let's just trace how this actually happens. It all starts with one single moment. Let's say a flicker of a generous thought. That first thought is the weakest it will ever be, but it leaves a tiny trace. The next time a similar situation comes up, that trace makes the second generous thought just a little bit easier, a little stronger. And that keeps building momentum until, eventually, generosity isn't just some random act, it's your default response. It's a habit.
Now, this isn't just some abstract theory. The ancient texts are actually filled with these incredible stories that show exactly how Asevana plays out in real people's lives, literally shaping their destiny.
Okay, so let me tell you about this one guy, Kuligasataka. He and his wife were so poor they only had one single outer robe to share between them. So one night, he's listening to the Buddha speak, and he's just filled with this overwhelming desire to donate his robe, the only valuable thing he owns. But his mind had been scented with stinginess for his entire life. And so all night long, this war is just raging inside of him. In the evening, the impulse to give pops up, but his deep old habit of stinginess just yanks him back. Then at midnight, it happens again. This new, wholesome thought is fighting an uphill battle against this powerful old habit. It's not until just before dawn that his generous intention finally breaks through and he makes the offering.
And here is the really crucial part of the story. The Buddha later explained that if the man had managed to overcome his habit back in the evening, when that generous impulse first came up, his reward would have been massive. But because he waited until dawn, after that old habit fought back so hard, the reward was less. His mind was just so deeply scented with stinginess that it took an all-night war for a new scent to take hold.
And you know, this idea doesn't just apply to a single night. The whole logic of Asevana, within its own philosophical context, suggests that the momentum from our habits is so incredibly powerful that it can even carry over from one life to the next, shaping the very circumstances we're born into.
Take the story of Punya. She was born as a poor slave girl, and the texts say this was the result of a deep-seated habit of pride from a past life. But she also carried the momentum of another, even more powerful habit,
This incredible wisdom she had built up by studying and practicing for lifetimes. And one day, that wisdom just shone through so brightly that she was freed from slavery and went on to become fully enlightened. Her deeply scented mind of wisdom was simply stronger than the scent of pride. It won.
So what does all this mean for us, right here, right now? Well, this ancient knowledge isn't just a bunch of cool stories. It's basically a user's manual for our own minds. It gives us the power to consciously choose how we want to shape our own inner world.
And that brings the whole thing right back home, doesn't it? If every single moment is practice, what are you practicing? What scent are you applying to your mind with each passing thought? Are you reinforcing patience or irritation, clarity or confusion? Are you practicing generosity or are you practicing greed?
So let's just recap the big takeaways here. Number 1, repetition is the engine that drives our habits. 2, every single moment is an opportunity to practice something. 3, this whole principle is totally impartial. It'll strengthen whatever you repeat, good or bad. But here's the most empowering part of all. You can consciously choose what to reinforce. Your mind isn't set in stone. It is profoundly, deeply trainable.
You know, when it comes down to it, Asevana teaches us that our mind is like a garden. The weeds of anger, greed, and confusion, they'll grow all by themselves if you just leave them alone. But you are the gardener. You get to choose which seeds you want to plant, which flowers you want to water, and which weeds you want to pull. So the real question is, what will you choose to cultivate today?